And then we're going to, oh boy. Oh. Oh, I know. We're going to turn that off. How is everybody doing out there? Minor technical difficulties. We're going to join Debra here in just a second. If I just turn that off, is it still echoing? Okay. We tried to get fancy and do it on an iPad. Not a good idea. Normally we're really on our ball here. Mute. I unmute. What is happening? Okay. Well, I think we're ready finally. Can anybody comment and say hi if you are here? I see that we have some viewers. Debra, I can see you in the little waiting room. We're going to bring you on in just a second. I just want to make sure that people can actually hear me now. So, do we have any comments?
Yeah.
Can you comment?
Oh, yes, I will comment.
We're super excited because it's kind of a last minute event, but we have a local author, Debra. Okay, good. So can people hear me? Anyone other than Maddie here, who is literally right next to me? But we're super excited. Her book just came out. Very appropriate since today is Earth Day, and it's all about flowers and sustainable growing practices. So I'm really excited to chat with Debra here in just a second. Okay, good. Robin is there and you hear me? Perfect. So we'll cut that little part out when we repose this for everybody to see. But I'm going to go ahead and conference Debra in. Hi, Debra.
Hi, Jen. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yay, I can hear you.
Great. I know. It's like we have to all become tech experts in this world, right?
I know. I feel like each week I'm learning a totally different software and, you know, Robin's saying we're freezing, but that might just be frozen, freezing. I'm not cold. It's actually quite warm out today, but hopefully we're doing it. So,
maybe she can refresh and maybe she'll get the feed again.
Yeah. So Debra, where are you located? I know you're local-ish, but
yeah, I'm Debra Prinzing and I live in Des Moines. So I'm very close to you and I'm really excited to be in my own backyard at Paper Lux. Thanks.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. Congratulations on the book. You've had multiple books, as I understand. So I'm excited to get my hands on some of those as well. And today we're going to talk about the one that just came out for those of you joining us, called Where We Bloom. It is gorgeous. We've been drooling on it, not on it, over it. How about that? Just to give people a peek, because we just got copies dropped off today. So if anybody's watching that is local and wants to come into the shop, we have copies now. And Debra was kind enough to sign them on the inside. So those make wonderful gifts. Just hint, hint, Mother's Day is coming up. So Debra, why don't you, now that we've kind of got some people on, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what inspired you to write this particular book?
Absolutely. Well, I am a longtime home and garden writer. I've written for this lots of publications here in the Northwest, like the Seattle Times, Gray Magazine, earlier publications that no longer exist, like the Seattle Post-Intelligencer, and even Seattle Homes and Lifestyles, which has gone bye-bye. But I love writing about homes and gardens. And back about 12 years ago, I was covering gardens for the Everett Herald, and every garden, it felt like every garden I went into, had a really cool garden shed. And all of a sudden I realized that was sort of bubbling up as a trend. And so I worked on a book that came out in 2008 called Stylish Sheds and Elegant Hideaways. I called it my big girl book because it was my designer was the same designer who does the Barefoot Contessa books. It was the same publisher. And this was a book about sort of secret, personalized spaces in the garden where people really follow their passions. And it's no longer in print. You can find it used online. So, if you're kind of in the shed market, I did create this category long before she sheds came out.
Right.
But fast forward, I became very interested in the domestic flower growing world, domestic agriculture, and also floral designers who are really embracing that sort of the floral version of farm to table. So we call it field to vase.
Okay.
And started, I wrote another book called Slow Flowers, which came out in 2013, which is still available. And was my way of describing this seasonality, this kind of a passion about local kind of artisan craft flowers at a time when every flower you see at the grocery store is wrapped in cellophane and you don't know where it comes from. And all of a sudden I became enchanted by this story. And so Slow Flowers movement started about 8 years ago. It's basically it's a membership community and a branding platform. Our mission is to inspire the floral industry and its consumers to embrace local, seasonal, and sustainable flowers, which is really, I come at this as a gardener. When you talked about, what inspired me, it's really being in the garden. Of course, some people make their living at it, and that's really exciting too. So when my book project started with Robin Ovney, who lives in Gig Harbor. She's my publishing partner in Bloom Imprint. We've created a book together in the past. We've known each other for 15 years in the publishing industry, and we decided there's an opportunity to tell stories about the people and their passions around the local flowers scene. And so I just said, Robin, why don't we do the floral version of the shed book and highlight these creative spaces all across North America where flower farmers and florists and farmer florists create their floral art.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those of you who haven't seen the inside of the book just yet, to give you kind of a sneak peek, she goes through, is it 37, I believe?
Yes.
Different people. And so you kind of get some quotes from them or talk to them, kind of like an interview. It tells the location they're in, who did the photography, and then some just really beautiful photos of their spaces and kind of what inspires them. I had a wonderful time going through here because there's, it's flowers. So you think they're all going to kind of look the same, but they don't. They just all have a life of their own, depending on where they're at and who they are.
Yeah, that's what really kind of got me excited is that there are retail flower shops. There are design studios. There are century-old barns. There's someone who made a greenhouse out of about 65 recycled vintage windows that is amazing. So cool. And there's mobile spaces. There's a lot going on with mobile flower shops now. Yeah. So we've got a vintage Japanese fire engine that's about the size of a beetle.
I didn't see that one yet.
That's a flower farmer up on Whidbey Island. And, it just goes to show that if you're a creative person and you have a creative expression, having a space, and I think this is for any of your customers, and I think that you would agree because your shop is beautiful, having a space that is personalized and reflects your art aesthetic makes your art, just sing. And it gives you a kind of that grounded place to do something beautiful. And that's sort of the premise of the book.
Yeah, absolutely. I know for myself, and I think Maddie kind of is on board with me. Like, we just absolutely love coming into our space because we've made it our own and made it beautiful and what, makes us happy. So I feel like it would be the same if flowers are your business. You want your space to be somewhere you want to walk into every day. So
yeah, and this is aspirational, but also accessible. Like, not everybody has a giant budget, but there are things that there are some of the best locations in this book are made out of recycled and salvaged building material. It's just seeing the potential and decorating it, with your own personal collections. And that's what inspires me too, is to see how creative people are.
Yeah. Well, we have actually one of our team members, Britt, her sister, Lydia, came to us just a month or two ago, and she was like, so I'm growing flowers in my backyard.
Great.
And I was like, okay, you're growing some flowers. She's like, I want to know if you want to sell some. And I was like, yeah, we can sell a few. And then I saw photos. They built this elaborate, raised beds with this beautiful greenhouse, all in their tiny University Place backyard. And I was like, where in the world do you have that in University Place?
Oh, we need to get her into the slow flowers community. Well, that's how a lot of people start. We kind of joke. Robin, my partner who lives in Gig Harbor, who's I think on the call here, she likes to say that growing tomatoes is like the starter drug for growing flowers. Right? That if you can grow, a radish or a carrot or a tomato, all of a sudden you realize it's somewhat easy to get those things at the farmer's market and, or in a CSA, but having access to flowers almost year round here in the Pacific Northwest, at least 9 months of the year, is you can have limitless, just ways to use those flowers for yourself or start a cottage industry and, sell them. So you're going to have flowers, do you think, pretty soon?
Yeah, it's only her, I think, second season, but she sent an elaborate Excel spreadsheet. She's probably going to kill me for saying this, but of like when she's planting them in the germination period and when she thinks they'll be available. And I was like, I'm sold. We'll set you up with a farm or a flower stand out front. I would love nothing more. So
well, and the whole slow flowers movement and the whole idea of having seasonal flowers, it's so in alignment with what you're doing in a lifestyle retail environment where you're trying to help people decorate or design or just enhance what they already have. And it's the curation that you're doing that makes it different. And I think that's what a lot of flower farmers and florists do. They're curating a palette that's maybe more in line with home interiors than necessarily what you'd see at the farmer's market, because they're reflecting, where the design world is these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I know like certain times of the year, we have bridal customers who do wedding invitations and they're talking about their flowers and they want peonies in December and they have to fly them in. And I'm like, just do something local. That's beautiful. There's so many options. So
yeah, send them to me. I'll give them. Yeah, send them to me. I'll give them a list of alternatives. I mean, there's not, if your heart is set on having peonies, then get married when peonies are in bloom. Exactly. Like get married at the end of May. Okay. Yep, that's going to be a more economical and sustainable alternative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just going to look at the comments right now. Somebody asked, do any of your features highlight wildflowers local to Washington State?
Ooh, that's a good question. We have about eight, just because I'm based here, we have about 8 of our profiles are in Washington, ranging from Whidbey Island. Also, we have someone on San Juan Island, and then down to the Tri-Cities and Pasco, and then Western Puget Sound. We have a designer on San Juan Island. Her name is Erin Shackelford. Her business is called Camas Flowers or Camas Floral Designing. The Camas is the Pacific Northwest wild bulb. It's sort of a relative of a crocus, a little bit bigger, but it's the wildflower you see when you go hiking in Mount Rainier. And so that's the inspiration. She's drawing inspiration from wildflowers. I'm not sure she's designing with it. I think that the jury's still out on how long cut wildflowers last. But there's a lot of native flowers that do really well as cuts. And there's this is kind of a new thing in floral is people, especially people who want to have cut flowers that are beautiful as in floral design, but are also nectar sources and food sources for pollinators. That's a really, an interesting niche. So I don't have a specific answer, but there's definitely one person who's doing it. And Erin's Where She Blooms is a vintage mail delivery truck that I'll tell you what page it's on. She's rescued that and decorated it yellow, painted it yellow with a big purple camas flower on the side. And it is called Little Miss Sunshine, page 93. Maybe you want to hold that up.
I don't know if I went that far. Oh my gosh, so cute.
And so she basically, this is what she shows up at a wedding with her delivery. And you see the little flower cart in front. She'll bring that also. And, it's just, most people make flower deliveries in boring white panel vans, but Erin's made it part of her brand. And I think that's a really fun one.
Well, and if it's a mail truck, obviously we're all about that because it's all about sending letters. So,
that's a good fit for you. That's right. Yeah. I love that. That's the innovation that really blew my mind. Where people are like, there's somebody who is a photographer in the book whose mother is a flower farmer, and this photographer was doing a bunch of, I think, like a workshop for wedding photographers. So she bought an adult tricycle. Very cool. And they had the couple on it and all. And then when she was done with the workshop, she's like, what am I going to do with this? And her mother, the flower farmer, said, you need to make a cart and put it on the back and rent this out for bridal showers and pop-ups. And so it's called Belle Fleur Flower Cart. And she just drive, she has a wagon that she can transport it in. And then they drive it to photo shoots. They drive it to bridal showers. And there's like a little design bar on the back where people can buy a single stem and make their own personal arrangement.
Robin says, her husband built her flower cart.
Yeah.
I think that
one. Yeah. There's a lot of family members involved in these endeavors.
Yep. I know that
all about.
Yep. I know my parents are retiring sometime in the next year, and we're going to have to find, they fill all the jobs here, so I don't know what I'm going to do without them. So,
oh my goodness, I'm eager to see how that goes for you.
Yeah,
your plate is full, and you're growing. So, good luck with that.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's see what else. If anybody else has questions for Debra, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and we'll ask her away. And then, just a fun random question: what's your favorite flower, Debra?
That is so unfair, Jen. I don't know. I know. It's not the same as saying who is your favorite child, because I have 2 children. I can't pick.
Yeah, you're not allowed.
But with flowers, I feel like it's what is in its moment, what is in season. And like right now, my anemones are so gorgeous.
I love anemones.
They have those dark centers, and they're just fascinating to watch in the garden. They have some kind of reaction to heat and to temperature and light. So at night they close up, and at daytime, like today, they're blown open all the way, like kind of like how a child would draw a flower, and you think, oh, that thing is shot, it's done. And then the temperatures will drop tonight, and it'll close back up, and they're long lasting. I love ranunculus right now. I think it's, kind of, you mentioned peonies. Ranunculus is kind of the new peony in terms of a full multi-petaled, juicy, in great colors, and holds up so well in a bridal bouquet, but also in a floral arrangement.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. So, I mean, my head is in late spring right now. If you asked me that question in June, I'd be talking about my David Austin garden roses. Or if you asked me in August, I'd be talking about my dahlias. So I think it's cool in a way. It's sort of like we eat our way through the seasons, but we floral our way through the seasons too. Yeah.
I think that's a great way to do it.
What's yours? Tell me what your favorite flower is.
Ranunculus is probably up there. For a while it was peonies when I first got into it. Now I still love them, but I find more beauty in kind of some of the more lesser known ones. I don't know, it changes every season. So
yeah, and the peonies have sort of a limited palette, whereas ranunculus, you can get into the hotter colors. Yeah, I think that might be more of a versatile. And also it's the ranunculus is something that we don't normally as gardeners grow, but the flower farmers that in the Still Flowers movement have been so generous with sharing how they do it. You literally get these corms that are like the size of, I don't know, like a walnut. And if you soak them and kind of give them a little jump start, even for 24 hours, then they respond really well. And so a lot of people, like a farmer I just interviewed, she literally planted hers the day after Christmas, and they're blooming now, or they're about ready to bloom. So it's kind of a cool season crop. So
That's fascinating.
I'm not teaching people how to be flower farmers, but I am
Right?
I am gaga when I meet a flower farmer for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you know more than you're admitting, but well, tell us a couple more questions I had, because I had a lot of people interested. Where can people find out more about the slow flower movement that you've kind of done? If they want to find more growers that are in that, how do they find them?
Thanks for asking. So we have 875 farmers and florists all across North America, mostly in the US. We've got about 60 in Canada, listed on this site called slowflowers.com.
Okay.
And you literally could just put in your zip code or city or state, whatever especially if you want to send a gift, I guess. But if you're searching a region, and then the site it's a free site to use, and it'll pop up a whole list of people, and you can look at the map, or you can just look by keywords. Like, say you did want peonies in Wisconsin, you could search by that and then see who has them. And I kind of use slow flowers as the shorthand to describe just this whole sentiment and this whole value system of people being more mindful about how they're spending their money and how they're sourcing things that are kind to the planet. So talking about Earth Day, it is apropos. But that all came from the slow food movement. And that really was a reflex and a kind of rejection of fast food and a way to celebrate who these food growers and artisans are, and in the butcher and the fishmonger and the winemaker and the cheesemaker, and like all these people who have elevated the craft of a particular food. That's really driven slow food. And I think in a similar way, flower lovers really kind of get it, and gardeners get it. Like, wow, I want to, talk to that farmer. I want to learn about some heirloom seed variety that's just been saved that almost was extinct. And I want to know what's the most fragrant, or like you talked about the colors, like what's the really, like everybody wants the cool, like taupey brown roses. Well, the rose growers can tell you, like all those unusual varieties that you could grow yourself. You don't have to go buy them from a farmer or a florist. So I love that kind of, I guess it's not like mass market is bad, but like after a while, we're looking for variety and something to inspire us.
Exactly. I think this book especially is inspiring, because it's not like some of them, it's just in their backyard. It's not some huge elaborate, massive greenhouse that they've built. So I encourage everyone to come in and at least peek at it. It is on our website. I keep going the wrong direction here.
No, I saw that. Thank you so much for sharing it so quickly. Yeah. We're just thrilled that we birthed this book. And, just a comment about sustainability. Robin and I are really committed to slow publishing. And we print this book. We were committed to printing domestically. So this was printed, and all our books will be printed in Seattle, which, helps the local economy and supports another small business. And all of our talent that we hire, like our copy editor and our graphic designer, we're not, outsourcing to someone maybe who's, at the other end of the computer in another country. We're trying to really support mainly small women-owned businesses is primarily our goal as well. And that's why we like working with you.
Yeah, obviously right up our alley. So that's awesome. Okay, so for anybody who is interested in the book, we do have a selection of signed copies here. You can grab it on our website or come into the shop. And then you can also find all of this on Debra's website and whatnot there too. And then Debra, do you want to tell us also what you might have coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, absolutely. We have 2 other books coming out this year, and they are by women authors who are part of the Slow Flowers movement. One is a book that's going to be basically all about growing garden roses for floral design. And it's called Growing Wonder. And the author is a flower farmer in the Sacramento Valley area named Felicia Alvarez. And that book will come out probably in September. I like to call the shorthand of that book the Florist's Guide to Growing Garden Roses. Because as I mentioned earlier, roses are having a renaissance, but it's not those hybrid teas on 3-foot stems that don't have fragrance. It's the romantic,
really
nostalgic kind your grandmother grew.
Yeah.
And then we have a book coming out in October with Holly Chappell, who's a DC based florist who has a really unique kind of agro-tourism business at her farm and is really well known in the floral industry. But it's also for anybody who wants to see what is it like to create a lifestyle on a farm and have flowers be at the center of your expression, your business, your family. So we've got that going on. And, I am, Robin and I are easy to find at bloom.imprint on Instagram.
Okay, there you go.
And, I have lots of other projects with Slow Flowers, but we're kind of clashing it up, and publishing is at the heart of a lot that I do. So you'll see other books in 2022, but that's kind of on our plate right now. And it's so nice to help other creative people find a way to tell their stories and share their talent and their art. And that's really what motivates us. So we realize that every person we're working with is a first-time author. So we're really birthing a lot of creative expression.
Well, I am sure they are all very appreciative to be included. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, thank you, Paper Lux. I'm just so excited to just have this opportunity. And as soon as I, can come in, I will, and just say hello in person. And thanks for your audience for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, happy Earth Day. Thanks for your time. And we'll talk to you soon, Debra.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks.